All right, guys, we're going to look at a defense from bottom side control in an MMA scenario. We're going to look at one of the moves that we teach here at ACS and how we adapt it for MMA uses as opposed to just pure Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. When I'm starting here on my back and my opponent is in side control on top of me, one of the things that I'm looking to do is I want to trap his arm. Now, if he gives me wrist control and a limp arm, that's no problem. I'll feed this arm down inside and I'll trap it. But in a lot of cases, that's not going to happen, so I have to bait him to do that, especially with a bigger, stronger opponent or if you're really tired in a fight. So in this case, what I'll do is I'm going to bait him a little bit with this arm. Now I'm going to keep this arm down nice and low. I don't want to bait him up high here. That would be a big mistake. It'd be easy for him to get the finish. There's always a little bit of risk when you bait somebody, so make sure that you have this practice and you have your control of your arm. I bait with my arm down nice and low and out to the side. My arm is fairly straight. If he goes for wrist control like he does in this scenario, as soon as he goes to wrist control, I'm keeping my arm locked out straight. I don't want him pushing it up again where I would be at risk of him hitting the Kimura. Second thing, I keep this arm tight across his back in this case. I want to pull down on his body. Now, to free this hand and make sure I don't get submitted, the next step that I execute from here is I turn my hips away from my opponent and I bring my arm out. I can even use my own knee to push it out, sliding my knee inside. This works great as a grip break. You could just stay here on your back and grip break if you wanted to. But let's take it a step further. From this position, I turn my hips into him to create space. I bring that knee inside, put my shin right here in his elbow, and as I'm pushing off to break the grip with my knee, my bottom leg comes over the top. Notice my calf is touching my shin. This locks down his arm so he can't get his arm free. Now here's a common mistake that people make. They grab the arm and they try to pull down on the arm and he pulls his arm free. Don't do that. Whenever you trap the arm here, I want you to keep your knees in and your elbows in like this. You're going to be doing a crunch, an endless crunch to hold onto his body. From this position, he's got nowhere to go. My knees are tight against his body. This arm is over the top, controlling his posture. And my top hand goes here against the head. Notice I'm above the ear. I'm not down here in the neck where he's strong. I'm right up here above the ear. From this position, what I'm going to do to trap the head is going to push down on the head, and at the same time, I'm going to turn my hips away a little bit, and I'm going to open my grip, keeping my right foot over. I push his head down, and I bring my knee over the back of his neck. Now to finish this submission right here, I need this heel to be down close to his armpit. If that's the case, and I can lock this up, I can get the tap. But in a lot of cases, the guy's going to be fighting you. You're going to be tired, especially with no shirt on in MMA. He may have some wiggle room. So even if you get here and you can just trap him, but you don't have the submission there, this is no problem. This is our defense to the side control. As soon as we're here, I've got a good control on his body. I trap his arm here so that there's no risk of punches. And now I'm going to open up my attack with elbows to the body and elbows to the thigh. And I'm just going to jackhammer away right here. I'm going to be tearing this up, going both to the thigh and to the body, and I'll do that as long as he wants. If he lets me stay here, I'll do this all round or until he's got broken ribs or whatever else. Now, if he defends with this arm and he brings this arm into to his side, good. He brings this arm into his side, I want to pin it to his body. As soon as I can pin it to his body, I can start working. This hand is still over the top. I slide my hand down to his wrist and I keep it pinned to his side, just like this. His palm is facing out. I feed my hand through and grab my own wrist. And when I go for the Kimura, I don't just push with my arms. I'm going to move my legs down and turn my body for the tap. So I push down with my legs like this to extend it and turn my body into the Kimura. Different angle. Here we are. I bait him as you saw before. Turn my hips, trap, pin the head, push down. I keep my knees close to his body. I open my legs and trap him right here. If I can get my heel below his armpit, I'm going to take the sub. If I can't, if I can only get this locked down, I switch my grip on his arm, holding his tricep, prevents him from ground and pounding, and from here, I go to work. Elbows to the body, elbows to the thighs, and I'll do this all day. Should he bring his arm in to try to block, I'm immediately taking his hand and pinning, pushing right in here to his side, top hand comes through his arm and grabs my own wrist, just like this. Thumb out. And of course from here, I raise this arm up, I slide it up his back towards the back of his head, and I push away with my legs for the tap.